Welcome to Get a Life Astrology. I'm TMZ, teaching everyone abundantly, empowering men, Zakia, enlightening every day. I'm leaving my Leo energy because we are stepping into the Virgo energy. It is the first full day. I'm also laughing because normally I put on my lipstick when the music is playing. And I was just feeling myself. I don't like this blue too much with yellow, but we're going to work with it. Because yellow is my favorite color, and blue was my grandmother's favorite color. Old and new. I wouldn't say I'm so new, but rest in peace to Nana always. She was also a Scorpio. All right. Uranus Retrograde. So I just did an abrupt change. Not an abrupt change, but yeah, I customized myself. Customized. All right, anyway. I said that I was going to be getting ready to do the weekly when I took my break from all these. But yeah, I'm about to upload, let's say, 5 videos now because I forgot that I had to talk about Uranus Retrograde. Last week, I spent most of my time doing the footwork around DC videos and episodes, and I tied that all into one. This week, I'm going to break these up because these are different, but they all tie in together again, and I'll explain that in the weekly. But let's talk about Uranus in retrograde that happened on the 19th of last week. I talked about it in last week's weekly episode. However, I never came and specifically talked about Uranus in retrograde. So Uranus went retrograde, and if you remember what retrogrades are, I did a whole retrograde episode that you can find on my, if you are a subscriber, of course, even if you're not a subscriber, but become a subscriber, please, and like this video and all the others that resonate with you. But I did the retrograde episode, and as astrology is ever ongoing, because astrology deals with the beginning of life until the end of life, so it's ongoing. And this I studied from the Astrology Hub on YouTube, so shout out to the Astrology Hub. This was a really good episode on Uranus retrograde. Retrogrades are when the planets are appearing to go backwards, if you were to view them in the sky, or they go backwards on our charts, and in degrees. They definitely go backwards in degrees, but the energies can also be opposing to the normal energies when they go direct, when the planet is direct. So previously last year, when I had less knowledge, again, I've studied astrology all my life. Again, shout out to Coyote Astrology, who made it very important for us astrologers to know on her live last night that you have to have experience, even with life. You know, respect to the babies on up to the elders, but you got to have experience with life. So I don't know everything as a 43-year-old. A 53-year-old doesn't know everything. A 93-year-old doesn't know everything. Life and learning go hand in hand, which is so important with these Mercury transits that we're having. But back on Uranus, and retrogrades have to do with anything re, with the prefix re. I'm also going to talk about the prefix mer when talking about Mercury, because there's a lot of Mercury aspects that are really important this year, along with the Uranus and Saturn aspects going on. So Uranus, the retrograde, is the resolution. There's that re prefix. The resolution and change. Again, I haven't found this out yet, but I feel like by Uranus being the revolutionary, the rebellious planet, I feel like retrogrades are ruled by Uranus. Anyway, this is this time with the Uranus retrograde, because it is squaring Saturn, is extra important. This time it is possible flashes of revelations. So when I say that, most of the time when Uranus is direct, we're having rebellion. It's been a lot of rebellion this year, especially with the Saturn, Uranus and Saturn, Saturn-Uranus square. Saturn square Uranus. Saturn being the last inner planet that has to do with us as individuals, but it's the last inner planet, so it is evolving, and it involves the outer planets. Uranus is the first outer planet, which involves the collective more than Saturn involves the individuals and the collective. Why does Saturn involve the inner individuals and the collective? Is because Saturn deals with your responsibilities, as well as, what's the other word I'm looking for, y'all? Your reputation. You hear all the re's? Also, Saturn used to be Aquarius's ruler, and now Saturn is in Aquarius in retrograde, and Uranus is now the current ruler of Aquarius, the sign. So we have a lot of Aquarius energy too. But possible flashes of revelations. The Aquarius types, speaking of Aquarius, there are 2 types, or even maybe 3, which is why they're so weird and known as the alien. The alien sign. It's even the only, all of the signs have mostly animal symbols. There's one thing that's not an animal or a person, and that's Libra. Virgo is a person. Sagittarius is half man, half beast. There are also animal symbols like Scorpio, which is animal insect. Pisces is the fish. Capricorn is the goat. Leo is the lion. Taurus is the bull. Aries is the ram. Those are the animal signs. Then we have Gemini, which is 2 people. And we have Aquarius, which is the person holding the object too, the water bearing. So Aquarius has the air aspect or element, and then it also has the water aspect. Water comes from the earth, which means it has the earth aspect, and then air. What I'm saying is Aquarius can be all of the elements, okay, which is why it's tied to the ruling planets of Saturn and Uranus, because it can have all of the earth elements as well as the air elements, and the water being the water barrier, and the fire being compatible and having many sextiles to fire signs. Hopefully I didn't go over your head with that. All right, so the Aquarius types, that's where we're going. There's the first Aquarius type that is like ahead of their time. That's why we call them the alien sign. That is why they are weird to us, because they're futuristic. They're all about new and innovative changes, like Uranus. Then we have the Aquarius types that are like Saturn, that are fixed, because Aquarius is a fixed sign. They are fixed on time as the air sign, or not wanting change as the fixed sign too. Okay. Then Aquariuses are also revolutionary, more on the higher level, ahead of their time type of Aquarius, which when you are revolutionary, you are not political, which is why I'm stepping into my Uranus in Scorpio. Uranus currently is at 14 degrees. When it gets to 12 degrees, that will be my Uranus opposition exact, because my Uranus is in Scorpio, which is the opposite sign of Taurus. So it's currently in Taurus at 14 degrees in retrograde, which means it's going back to the 12th degree. And I didn't realize that because we've already been through the 12th degree probably a couple of months ago. And that was an opposing time where I'm trying to balance out the energies of the new world coming in versus the elevated world that I was born in 1977. Hopefully that didn't go over y'all's head either. All right. When you're a revolutionary, you're not political. You're more about overthrowing the system or changing it altogether, which is what the Pluto return is all about. We'll get into that soon. in retrograde. However, it can go through feeling revolutionary to revelatory. Revelatory, which basically means having a lot of revelations. And I, as a 43-year-old, have had revelations all my life. And I'm really feeling this because my Uranus in Scorpio, which is where Uranus is exalted, which means it's where it's most potent. So I was born into that. It won't go back to where it was until about when I'm 60 years old, because now, maybe even older, because now it's opposing. It's only at the opposition sign, which is halfway from where it's been when I was born to where it is now. Anyway, in saying this, because Uranus, again, has to deal with the collective, all of us, right? When I learned this today, I said, no, you cannot sit on this knowledge because this has to deal with the collective. This is a point of time where not only do I need to get with the groups, as Aquarius energy is about finding your social group and the similar mindsets of people that you can uniquely blend with. This is also about sharing knowledge. Why is it about sharing knowledge? It has a lot to do with that trine that I just talked about. Not the grand trine, but the earth trine, because Uranus is in Taurus, which is the earth sign. But before we go into that, what is a revelation? Again, I'll throw up the definition here. But also, a revelation can be enlightenment. It can be sudden understanding, surprisingly, like out of nowhere. Now, it's 3:00. I just finished doing my first 3 episode videos. And remember, again, I got to edit all this, so it'll come out when it comes out. But in between, I had smoked a J, had lunch, cleaned up, talked to my kids. Because even though my youngest just left with my mother, my Cancer baby just left with my Taurus mother for the day. And she'll be back tomorrow. I started, having surprisingly some shock about being alone, but I'm trying to use this time to get caught up with a lot of stuff because I do put in a lot of time relating to my kids lately. Anyway, long story short, I talked to my son, and he heard about the FDA decision today to mandate the jabs. To approve the jabs fully. One of them, not all of them. Anyway, I'm not doing that. My kids already decided we're not doing that. And my ex-husband that I co-parent with said he was going to honor that too and was not going to do that too. But then my son got nervous, being an air sign himself. He's a Libra. And then he noticed that he probably would have to be mandatory to go back to school. I have been approaching my ex-husband about homeschooling. Again, I taught for 17 years. And out of those 17 years, 12 of those years, I was with him while I was teaching. So not sure, unless he's just trying to be sabotageous, as usual, why he wouldn't let me homeschool our own son. He just got remarried. I feel like, and I'm not trying to speak for anyone, but I feel like as soon as this approval came out today, it got real for a lot of people. A lot of revelations came in all over the internet today. We've been hearing, because while I was eating, I was, reading through some Telegram and YouTube messages about this today, and listening to the podcast and things like I normally do. And everybody's panicking. And I put up this, and then everybody started having revelations. Like, oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Right, sis. This and that. And it's, again, I don't know everything. I learned from y'all. I definitely learned from astrologers and other podcasters and other YouTube influencers. But not only did everybody online start having these revelations, not just from what I said, but just from the day as the day's progressing, and we're only at 3:01 tonight, right now, Eastern Standard Time. Not only that, my ex-husband and I guess his new wife had revelations, and now they're thinking They got to figure out something else. So that's just individually speaking on my situation. Collectively, like I said, everybody's going through these revelations, but an example of this collectively is us just looking at people in elite positions, celebrities especially. You know, those are my favorite to go to. But you just start wondering, why do you even bother worshiping certain people if they're pushing some kind of mindsets that you're not into anymore? It's like you're saying, I can't believe how stupid I was to think this person was this, and that, or this situation was this, and that at one point. Just like even me, I have revelations about my marriage a lot. It's like, dang, what was I thinking? But at the same time, it was necessary to move on. Speaking of necessary, not necessary to move on, but it was necessary to have so that I can move on in life with my next marriage, next relationship, whatever. But collectively, I feel like we all had a realization we're all going to have a realization that's finally coming, especially throughout the rest of this month. Why? What's even more sobering and more apparent right now is the trine that's going on between the earth signs attached to Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. Okay, so until August 30th, when Mercury, which is in Virgo, along with Mars and conjunct with Mars, blended energies that we've definitely had enough discussion about, after they have already been through, not so conjunct, but they've already just left Leo a little while ago. Mercury, Mars were both opposing, negatively opposing everything in Aquarius, Saturn and Jupiter, right? Mainly Saturn. Anything opposing Saturn is going to go through a struggle. So that was Mercury and Mars just a few weeks ago. And what I discovered today and came to a revelation, is that after every opposition, there is a trine. I want to think about the grand trine happening between the air signs. Those were in opposition with everything in between Virgo and Pisces. So I'm not too sure on that. I'm looking, and I was trying to just off the top of my head look and figure that one out. But it does make sense, because if you're going through an opposition, which is conflict, after necessary conflict, you're going to have a creative solution, a creative resolution, which is what a trine is. Remember, oppositions is trying to balance out the energies of two opposing signs, okay, with two opposing planets or more. And then trines, where did I put trine? Trine is a triangle. Trines are when you're having the creative, fast-flowing energy from elemental signs, this being the earth sign. Long story short, now that we have went through these oppositions with Aquarius, Saturn, Aquarius, and everything in Leo, including the sun, because the sun just left Leo too. Now we can see what we could creatively create through the earth energy. I'm going to talk a little bit about the earth energy in another clip, but Mars represents the head. It represents Aries, the ram, the first sign, so it represents the head, the first part of your body. Mercury represents our, thoughts, information, education, knowledge, our first education. So that also represents our mind. So first the head, that part of your body, then inside the head, your mind. And then Uranus is the innovative mindset, the unique mindset, the rebellious, but what is the word, y'all? Revelations, all those reses, all those, and then the trine coming in will bring another quick results. Okay, so currently Mercury and Mars being in Virgo has to do with quick results with our health and our service or our work. This has a lot to do with health and work. Okay, until Mercury goes into Libra on August the 30th, you can possibly organize folks with this trine creatively in your social groups with the Aquarius energy, okay, with the Grand Trine energy. But Mercury is giving you this mindset right now to find folks with similar mindsets or organize folks to have similar mindsets. And this is a great time to do it with this trine or with Mercury being in Virgo until August the 30th, which is exactly until next Monday. So get busy this week, y'all. Use this Uranus retrograde, and when you're having that aha moment, step into it and see who else is having those aha moments, so you don't feel alone too at that. You know, a lot of people don't believe a lot of the truths that are coming out, and I'm not going to call it CT because it's not CT. That's the word that they derived or established to have you all confused out here about the truths and just telling you lies. Neptune and Pisces, the illusions, okay? And Mercury is really trying to work this out. Also, Mercury is having an opposition that's coming up with Neptune. Because I mentioned in one of my episodes that it was having, I think it was last weekly, where we were having a square with Mercury. No, it was on my TikTok, y'all. But anyway, Mercury is having, Mercury in Virgo is opposing everything in Pisces, which is the moon right now, and Neptune, which is those illusions. So it's like time to figure out a quick way how to get away from these illusions that they're kind of pushed on us. The FDA approval today, the media is still pushing it. The health department's still pushing it in certain states and in big cities. And the celebrities trying to push it and all this stuff. And we're having this opposition of where we have to balance what our mind knows. Because we do know that we have an immune system and we don't need the illusions telling us what we know we have. The illusions are saying one thing, and your mind is saying, okay, illusions, go away. Bring me to the spirituality part where I can lift up and be in my higher Neptune and Pisces self, where I realize, okay, let me flow with what the mind is telling me instead of down here with what somebody else is trying to influence. Because I have my own mind. Everybody has their own mind. That's why Mercury is an individual planet. It deals with your individual mindsets. And use that instead of this down here, somebody else's mindset. You're not sure that their mindset is right here. You know yours is. And rely on you. That's the other part of Uranus in retrograde. Have the revelation that, you know what, I know this doesn't feel like anything but what I felt before growing up. This is probably a code. I can lose my taste and smell sometimes from burning my tongue. I mean, just think like it's going to be okay, y'all. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Venus and Virgo is telling us, let's compromise and let's have hopeful thinking. I didn't turn this into all the other planets instead of Uranus in retrograde, but y'all know where I'm going with. Uranus in retrograde ultimately is giving us these revelations where we're saying, okay, let me get this in a better understanding, because now instead of being rebellious, I'm going to be revelatory. I'm going to think what's best for me and the collective. Me first and then the collective. Me saying, okay, I have this group of little people over here that are depending on me. Even my young adult is dependent on me to figure this stuff out. Here I go, good emotion again. All right, y'all. I've talked long enough about that. That is Uranus in retrograde, and let's wrap this up with the weekly forecast.